Hello, anyone that's still living in the 1970s. We interrupt your day to bring you this breaking announcement. Husker Ninja is in the building. Alright guys, we're here today with episode number 41 of the Nebraska City Wildcats Dynasty here on NCAA 14. And this video is going to be a bye-week update for Week 5. I went ahead and simulated through Week 5 though, that way the recruiting and the top 25 and the stats and all that stuff would be as up-to-date as possible. We'll start by looking at the top 25 polls. And I'll just let you know, like, surprise-wise, like, see Vanderbilt's up there. They're 3-1. And then number 4, that's a little bit of a surprise. Another surprise is Maryland is number 10. Virginia's number 11. Iowa's 16. Iowa State's ranked. West Virginia's ranked. We are ranked. Actually, after beating LSU, it moved us up to number 25. And then the bye week, I guess enough teams lost that we moved up 2 more spots to number 23. And the new team in the rankings is Auburn. And UCLA dropped out. As you take a look at other people who are receiving votes, you got Bama, Pittsburgh, Clemson, UTSA, and Mississippi State. Now we're going to go through the conference standings here really quick. When you get to the conference your favorite team's in, feel free to pause the video and see how they're doing. Because I'm not going to really wait a lot. Like, I'm going to go through it pretty quickly. We're leading the American division of the American Athletic. Yeah, teams at 3-2, 4-1, 3-1, and then 2 0-4s. Cincinnati's leading the athletic division of the American. They're still undefeated. So if the standings hold, we'd face Cincinnati in the conference title game. Look at Iowa State leading the Big 12 right now. TCU's right behind them at 4-0. Ohio State's leading the Big 10 East. Nebraska's leading the Big 10 West. I don't think I went through, like, straight down, sorry. So I'll do that really quickly. Now the Conference USA. These ones I'm just really going to go through. UTSA's 4-0. But we knew that since we knew they were receiving votes, so we knew they had to be doing pretty good. There's the MAC. Well, the person leading the MAC East is 1-3. Jeez. This conference is not very good, I guess. Got a couple and 5 teams in the Mountain West. Oregon's leading the Pac-12 North. Arizona's leading the Pac-12 South. And they're 2-3. Vandy's leading the SEC East. Florida's right behind them. Georgia's right behind them. Mississippi State's leading the SEC West. A&M's right behind that. Whoa, A&M's second in the SEC West, but they're the #1 team in the country. Look at good old LSU and Jack Gingerball, last in the SEC West. And as a matter of fact, they are second to last in the SEC total. Good. Let's see what happens when. See if Mr. Jack Gingerball is going to get fired once he leaves Nebraska City. Here's a look at the Heisman Watch. Oh, we'll go through the championship contenders real quick. We've got an A. They're 23rd right now. They project us to be 32nd next year. And then we'll improve to 15, then to 1 by 2018. Toughest places to play. We are #2, right behind Texas. A 14-1-0 home record. We've won 14 straight games at home. And actually, I do believe that our first home loss in the first game of the series against Alabama, I think that's our only loss of the series so far. Our only loss as a program, you know. Because I'm pretty sure we went undefeated from there out, and then we won the title last year. So good for us. Aaron Smith was the NCAA Player of the Week in Week 4. With his 4 picks against LSU. And actually it was 5, so I don't know why they're only saying 4. Oh well, not my problem. And now looking at the conference Players of the Week. Irby and Hombuckle were Week 1. Kevin Schneider was Week 2. And Smith was Week 4. Alright, so real quick, we're just going to kind of check the... Actually, first I'm going to check our contract. Yeah, we won our first home loss in the first game of year 1 was our only loss so far as a program to date. See how much longer that lasts. Probably not very. But we're going to check the job security now just so you can kind of see which coaches are on the hot seat. You will just kind of start from where it says hot seat, I guess. Look at Saban. He's only got 82 job security. You build the powerhouse, and all of a sudden you have a little bit of an off year where you're not in the top 5 and they want you fired. That's sad. Alright, hot seat. You got Nevada, North Texas, Sonny Dykes and Cal, Kirby Smart and Oklahoma State. Gundy must have just been fired or something. And you got Louisiana Tech, Missouri, Buffalo. Jack Gingerball, he's only got 57 job security. Let's view his contract. Their target wins per year are 10, and they can max out at 8. Oh dear. Looks like you're going to be in trouble, Mr. Jack Gingerball. BYU, Minnesota, and a bunch of other minor teams. And now we're going to go and do your recruiting updates. And let me tell you, head coach Christian Horn's gotten to work. Like, he was the recruiter both of the past 2 years as the offensive coordinator. But once he became head coach, he kind of just went overtime, like just completely double overtime. We've got 27 current people on our board. We only got 25 scholarships, so a couple of these guys are on as just in case our other people or one or two of our current targets who aren't committed decide to go elsewhere. And so we'll start by going with the people we are looking to still get to commit. We'll start with quarterback Bob Turner out of Blair, Nebraska. He went up 5. He was a gem when we scouted him. Got decent throw power and accuracy. I mean, he's obviously going to redshirt year 1, so because we'll still have, hopefully, Glopter. What if, I mean, I'm going to try and talk Glopter into saying if he still decides he wants to try and declare. So I'm going to throw pretty much everything I got at Glopter to try and get him to stay for a senior year. But Bob Turner could be a nice option in 2 years when he's gone, I guess. We're easily in the lead on him. No one else is even trying to get him. Next, we'll look at cornerback Terry Holland out of Falls City, Nebraska. We've got a ton of points on him. He's just a solid corner. I mean, he's not going to play right away, obviously, but he can make solid depth and start probably his junior year, if not a little bit earlier. And right now, we are losing by about 1,000 to Iowa. But as you can see, we're going up like 300 right now, so I believe in us. We'll have to keep an eye on Mr. Terry Holland as the season progresses. It's still pretty early. And once he's ready for a visit, we'll have to bring him in before week 14, obviously. Let's get him to come in and commit before he even visits Iowa. And I noticed that we're located in Nebraska, but yet Nebraska's not a pipeline state. And I'm going to fix that like pronto. That's been a high priority for me this year, is to build the pipeline in Nebraska and a couple of the surrounding states like Iowa. Next, we got defensive end Matthew Bailey out of Oak Grove, South Carolina. He's a gem, went up 5 to a 74. I mean, like a lot of these guys, there's nothing super standout about them, but they're just solid players. Like, they don't have any super strong weaknesses, but they don't have any major strengths either. And no one else has even offered Bailey a scholarship, so I'm thinking right now our chances are pretty good to land both Bailey and Turner for sure. Hopefully Holland, but we're going to throw everything we got at him to try and get these guys in. Next is Mike Washington, a wideout from Grand Island, Nebraska. And he's on my board because building the pipeline to Nebraska. I mean, you got to have a pipeline in your home state. Really only school to offer him a scholarship. I mean, he's definitely a developmental prospect at this point. He got decent speed, but his catching is not great. So he's someone who's probably going to redshirt and sit for a while. Maybe contribute by the time he's an upperclassman a little bit. And then next is Cameron Morris, a halfback from Ogallala, Nebraska. He went up 5 to a 64 when we scouted him. Again, really only school to offer him a scholarship. And that is because trying to open the pipeline in our home state, as I've said numerous times already this episode. But both Washington and Morris we've got them on there to try and open the pipeline, but they're developmental prospects. I wouldn't expect them to really contribute until their junior or senior seasons. And they're obviously going to be redshirted once they get onto campus. Next, we've got Adam McMahon, a free safety from Maplewood, New Jersey. He went up 5 to a 78, so he's a gem. He got solid coverage ratings, solid tackle ratings, and he's got 93 speed. One of his weaknesses, I would say, would be his play recognition and his jumping. His jumping's a 70 and play recognition's a 68. Otherwise, he's pretty good. And so far, we are the only one to offer him a scholarship. We'll see kind of how this goes. Because all it takes is one scholarship offer from Alabama there and we're in trouble. So we'll just have to see. Next we got Sean Gilmore. He's an athlete from Clinton, Mississippi. He went up 2 to 76. And looking at his ratings, he's probably going to be a wideout or a halfback. Those kind of look like the positions he's got the highest ratings for. And we're the only one to offer a scholarship. Next we got Aaron Freeman. He's a wideout from Cozad, Nebraska. He's only a 63 overall. And we have not offered him a scholarship. But you can see we're second on his list right now. I doubt many people are going to offer this guy a scholarship. So I'm just going to try and put like 50 points on him just in case one of my other Nebraska targets don't commit. So he's like a backup plan to help make sure I get the pipeline in Nebraska. And then finally we got Dan Barnes. He's an outside linebacker from Camden, South Carolina. And he's pretty good. He's a 71 overall. The problem is we've already got, I think, 3 linebackers who are already committed. And all of the other 3 are each better than Barnes is. So Barnes is a good player. I'd like to have him. But I've already got 3 outside linebackers committed. And so he'll be a nice little backup plan in case I lose out on another player or 2 here on our board. But he'd probably easily redshirt his first year or something. And so now we're going to go through who we've got committed. And hold on because we've got about 18 of them already, I think. And in fact, we're going to check the top classes real quick. And you can see we're number 1. Oh, sorry, we got 16 commitments. We got 12 4-stars, 2 3-stars, and 2 5-stars so far. And we're going to go through all our commitments right now. So, yeah, we got 7 left. That should be 18. That's weird. Oh well. First we got Bo McDowell, a punter from Cody, Wyoming. And we needed a punter. I believe our punter is a senior, so I scouted him. He's an 85. Good enough for me, you know. And then we got Jamal Clark, a center from Lyndhurst, Ohio. He was a gem. He went up 6 to an 81 when we scouted him. And we got Jimmy Fowler, He's a guard from Robinson, Texas. And you can see the green circle means we got enough players from Texas committed already. And so they will be a pipeline state new for the next season. So once we get to the preseason at the end of this year, go through the offseason, then it'll become a pipeline. But he went up 1 to a 77. And the tendency I find a lot with the offensive lineman prospects is it'll, more often than not, they'll be busts or they'll go down like a couple points. So if they're going up, that's pretty good. And if they're gems, that's really good. That's like if they're a gem, you've got to throw everything at them you can to get them. Next we got Charles Anderson. He's an athlete from Houston, Texas. So already that's the second straight Texas prospect who committed. And looking at his ratings, I actually, as they committed, I wrote down, like I'm writing down that in the order they commit, like just in a notebook. That way I can look back on them and be like, yeah, here's what we've got. And we're looking Charles Anderson. I wrote down he would be a wideout or a halfback. And looking at his ratings, I would agree with that. Definitely a wideout or a halfback. And then we got another center here. Oh, and yeah, we did Anderson. Alright. We got Lee Brown. He's a center from Lenoir. Is that how you pronounce it? Lenoir, North Carolina? I don't know. But you can see North Carolina is a new pipeline state for next year too. And Brown went up 1 to a 74. Next we got Brandon Harris, a defensive tackle out of Sparks, Nevada. We scouted him. He went up 6 to a 79, another gem. That's one thing I'm pretty good at here in recruiting is I find a ton of people, I scout them, and then if I happen to find gems, I'll just remove a ton of people and just focus on the gems. So that's why you tend to see a lot of gems. Especially as you get later into the recruiting process, later into the season, when I'm taking people who are under 25% locked, I'm looking pretty much for gems. At that point, that's about what we were looking for. So Brandon Harris will make a very nice addition to the team. Comes in at almost an 80 overall. That's pretty good. Next, we got Brad Sims, another defensive tackle. He's from Burleson, Texas. And he went up 1 to a 76 overall. A lot of our recruiting classes, if they're not people who are going to come in and make an impact day one, they're going to be very solid prospects who might be depth for a year, or we might redshirt them for a year and then they'd come in and make an impact. But they're just very solid prospects for the most part. And then next we got John Grimes, a free safety out of Sturgis, South Dakota. He went up 1 to a 74 when we scouted him. And so far out of the people who have committed, at least that we've gone through, 74 has been like the lowest rating so far. Next we got Greg Fisher. He's a tackle out of Thompson, Georgia. He went down 1 to a 77. But still, for an offensive lineman, a 77 is a pretty good starting spot. And then next we got Aaron Hunter, an athlete out of Severna Park, Maryland. He went up 1 to a 78 when we scouted him. And I wrote down that Mr. Hunter could be... I wrote down he could be a halfback, a cornerback, or a safety. But looking at his throwing and speed ratings, he could also be a quarterback. So I'm going to add that beside his name. Just real quick. Alright, and then next we've got Chris Carter. He's another cornerback. He's out of Schertz, Texas. And you saw he went up 1, I think it was, to a 73. Yeah. And then we got another cornerback, Cameron Lewis out of Farmville, North Carolina. He went up 1 to a 78 when we scouted him. His highlights are definitely 95 speed, 95 acceleration, 90 jumping, and 89 zone. So next we got Jim Edwards. He's a middle linebacker out of Perry, Iowa. And he went up 3 to an 81 when we scouted him. He got 92 tackle, like that's really good. He got 90 acceleration too. His coverage ratings aren't great, but overall a pretty good prospect. And he helped us open a pipeline into Iowa, combined with another couple of commitments. Next we got Terrence Clemens, an outside linebacker from Parker, Arizona. He went down 2 to a 72 when we scouted him. Just a very, I guess, solid prospect. He's got 81 tackle. That's about the highlight there. Not very fast. So he'd probably sit for a couple of years before playing as an upperclassman. Next we got Pat Hall. He's an athlete out of Falls City, Nebraska. And he went up 5 to a 75 when we scouted him. He's another gem. And looking at his ratings, I think he'd be best as a corner or a safety of some sort. But he could also probably play a little bit of running back. But I'm probably going to put him somewhere in the secondary. Next we got Vince Daniels. He's an outside linebacker from Aiken, South Carolina. We scouted him. He went up 6 to a 77. He's another gem. He got really good acceleration. He got decent enough tackle for a freshman. It's overall a very solid player. Again, something we've got a lot of, especially in this recruiting class. And then next we got Tim White. You can see he is a JUCO player, but he's only a junior college sophomore. So he'll come in and he'll be a sophomore instead of a freshman. And that almost guarantees we're probably going to redshirt him year 1. Oh, maybe not. You don't know. You never know. But he's from Worthington, Ohio. He started at a 79 and he did not change in either direction. And next we got Alan Ingram. He's a wideout from Cedar Rapids, Iowa. He went up 2 to 65 when we scouted him, but the main reason I went after him was because I wanted to open the pipeline in Iowa. And with his commitment, that's exactly what happened. So you can see a very solid recruiting class so far. And with the people we still have left, it could get even better. There's some very solid all-around players. Alright. Yeah, see, look. All the 70s, they could still get a lot better. Like, this recruiting class is already really good, but it could just become, like, amazingly good, mind-blowingly good. The trick would be getting all of them to stay happy and not, like, transfer away. But if if we can keep recruiting well, it won't matter if a couple of people transfer because we'll have new commits coming in to replace them. Anyway, that was a look at our recruiting here and just a bye-week update for Week 5. That'll do it for me. I'll see you guys next time in Week 6 when we take on Temple. Have a great day, everybody.